What's up, Pirates? Wraith and Jim here with AwakenedTCG, and today we're going to give you guys a market watch video, but it's going to be kind of a special kind. We're going to go over, more like the standard cards that are ran in the top three decks coming into OP05, which are going to be Sakazuki, Anel slash Katakuri, and Purple Luffy. So we're going to go over some of these cards. We're going to go over the prices and basically give you guys a rundown on the prices and how kind of where the market is at currently, because it's not in a good spot for these decks in particular.
Yeah, this might be one of the most expensive these standard cards have ever been for these top decks in the meta. As we know, as Wraith said, it's going to be Sakazuki with a ton of black cards, Purple Luffy with a ton of purple cards, and purple starter deck cards with the purple Kaido starter deck. And yellow is actually fairly cheap when we get to that, but yellow is still going to be very strong. It did win a championship series towards the end of their OP05 meta, so do not sleep on yellow. If you still want to play on yellow, it's going to be fantastic. And one of the cheapest, minus one or two cards.
Correct.
But anyways, let's get into our first one here. We've got Borsalino, a 4-of staple in basically every black deck under the sun, including blueback Sakazuki. And right now, as you can see, at 27 or 28.47. This is absolutely insane of a price. As you can see, it's spiked up from when it used to be like 10 bucks. But unfortunately, OP02 is not getting any reprints, and this price, especially if Sakazuki continues to win throughout this set, might not go down too much. I could see going down to like 25. But honestly, this might stay up here, and if you do want to play Sakazuki, you might have to bite the bullet and buy this card.
Yeah, 100%. Sakazuki is by far the best deck in this set, hands down. Like, you can't debate it. I'm sorry. If you want to debate it, I'm not the one because I am not going to. But this deck is going to be really, really good. And so a card like this, it's going to be getting bought out for the foreseeable future. Obviously, the set has not even released yet, and people have been buying for weeks and months, and so that's how the price of this card got to where it's at. Yeah, if you're gonna play this deck, you're just gonna have to find a good moment to buy them. I don't see these cards going anywhere near under $20, and so they're gonna be in this range for, I'd say, the majority of the set, unless something happens where Sakazuki gets a restriction or a ban. Yeah, I don't think these cards are gonna go any lower.
And next up here, we're just going to go over this one real quick. This is Borsalino's alt art. It is almost reaching $100 for a standard character alt art, which is ridiculous. And again, one that I don't see going down too much. However, I could see this one going down a bit because I think the people that are going to want to fully drip out their decks are going to drip it out before OP05 comes out. And then I could see this dropping a bit more, but honestly, it's probably going to stay at this ridiculous price as long as Sakazuki is going to continue to win in our meta as well.
Yeah, I think the biggest factor, not only just for this alt art, but for all these alt arts in general, it's like if it's an OP01 or an OP02 card, as long as we don't get reprints, these prices are probably not going to go down anytime soon. Unless they announce a reprint, then maybe you should definitely wait because you can just buy a box or wait for people to open more product to get these prices lower. But as of right now, OP01 and OP02 have no indication of a reprint, and so some of these cards you're gonna have to cough up a pretty penny to just acquire, honestly. But this card here, I wouldn't personally buy it at $90. I am running Sakazuki, but I would not consider the alt art at all for this price. But if you're a person that does want it, you're just gonna have to honestly purchase it around $90 to $100.
Yep, and next up here, we've got the standard Kuzan SR from OP02. This one, a lot less than the Borsalino, only at $22. This one, not as much as a 4-up staple in the Sakazuki deck. I know there are a few that don't run it or don't run too many of them. But I do think this is in the majority of them. I don't know, Wraith, you probably know better than me.
Yeah, I think the most standard is 3-of. I think the standard for Kuzans to be ran in a deck is 3-of. Some run 4, some opt to not run it at all. But I think for competitive purposes, if you want the best chance of winning, I think a 3-of is the sweet spot.
Yeah, and for $22, this is probably a decent price. It's already kind of going down a bit, so maybe play it by year, and I could see this card even going down to like 15 to 18 range.
Yeah, 100%.
And let's just look at the Kuzan alt art, just for fun, is going to be basically the same price as the Borsellino alt art, which is interesting considering it was nowhere near the price with the normal art. So just another reason why I think you should not be buying this right now and just wait a bit and see where the price lands. It could go down or it could stay steady. We will have to see.
Yeah, I think it's going to come down to, like I said, relating back to the reprints. These cards are definitely going to be wanted by a lot of collectors, especially new collectors in the future. And if there are no reprints, stuff like this are not going to drop in price. Because at this point, the people that are buying are the collectors and people that want it to rise in price just because they have many of them. So,
Yep. And next up, let's just take a look at one of the staples in the Sakazuki deck that is not as expensive. Most of these uncommons are going to be around this range. This is an uncommon event from OP02 in Ice Age, and it is only $1. So for most uncommon events, this is like an insane price for that. As you can see, it absolutely skyrocketed. Most are sitting around like 10 cents. This one is going to be about 10 times that at $1 plus shipping. So unfortunately, another one, an OP02 card that I don't think is going to go down. $1 is not too much. Sure, it is overpriced for an uncommon, but I think if you do need to play Sakazuki and you don't have any Ice Ages, you are going to have to be spending this price.
yeah, most lists run just like two of. So I think at the price it's at, I'm definitely going to buy a a playset to have for $4 or $5. I think it's
Yeah,
totally okay.
not terrible at all. Next up, we've got Hina going into the starter deck cards. Hina and by extension, Great Eruption. I think only two ofs in the black starter deck. So you will need to buy two of the black starter decks if you want a four of these. Hina at about $12 and Great Eruption at a little over 13. So these cards are pretty insanely expensive for starter deck cards. We will be looking at starter deck cards later that are even worse. But these two are two staple 4-ofs in Sakazuki. So if you're trying to run Sakazuki, you might just want to buy the starter decks. As we see here, the starter deck 6, which runs two of these, you'll need to buy two of the starter decks for $41. So about $40, you buy two of these, and that's only $80. Whereas if you bought four of these as well as four of these, that would run you almost $100. So,
yeah, I agree. But for that reason, maybe you want to just try to look for a seller that has two starter decks that you can invest,
yes.
$90 in instead of paying for eight overpriced singles. This way, not only do you get the 8 cards you need, you also get a bunch of other cards that you can
Exactly.
just have for if maybe you ever need them.
Yep, if you never bought a black starter deck and you have none of the black starter deck cards, I would totally just buy two of these. Do not buy four of these, because it's going to be around the same price for you to get a lot less cards.
Mhm.
And next up, let's go over Sabo. Just want to highlight here, I think this is going to be a fantastic card, especially in the Sakazuki Mirror. It could prevent cards like Lucci from popping any cards on your board. I think this is a really great SR that's like really undervalued right now. It's not like a 4-up staple like the Borsellino and that, so it was never going to be that much. But honestly, I think $7 is a great price to buy Sabo at right now.
Yeah, I think that's a fair price. SRs usually go around anywhere from like $2-3 to like the $10 range, which is always acceptable in my opinion for an SR. And then an SR like this, it is really, really good in Sakazuki. Most decks run like a 2-of. Like you said, it's a crucial card for the deck, especially in going into the mirror match. I think the price at $7.50 and even all the way up to $10, I would still buy this card. I think it is at a good price. I feel like it could be a lot more if a lot more people were to buy this. So I feel like this has room to increase in price. So I would definitely go ahead and buy some of these if you're gonna run Sakazuki.
Yep, completely agree with that. And next up, let's go over a card that is not fairly priced. It's going to be Queen from the starter deck for Purple Starter Deck, sitting at $40. This card is, mind you, the same rarity in the starter deck. It's only a 2-of in the Purple Starter Deck, similar to Hina and Great Eruption. However, it is 4 times the price. The reason for this is every single purple deck that's going to be being played next set is going to need 4 of this card. So everybody's buying these out because everybody needs them, and there has been no reprints of this card, and the starter decks are the only place you can get it. $40 if you need to buy 4 of, obviously, is going to net you $160 just to get a 4 of this card. And that may make you think, okay, oh, let me just buy the starter deck. That's probably cheaper. No, it is not. $90 for 1 starter deck. So you will need to be buying 2 of these, running you $180, which will be more than the $160 that you would need to pay for Queen. Ridiculous price, but as long as there's no starter deck reprints, unfortunately, this might not go down.
Yeah, I mean, super, super overpriced. It's a common at the end of the day from a starter deck. But the card is just so good and versatile in these purple decks that I feel like not only are these decks going to use them as well, even in OP04, we saw multiple decks running this card. And so it kind of was already on pace to get to like a price like this. But I think it's still way overpriced. And unfortunately, the starter deck is no better. So if you need a card like this, I mean, you just gonna have to buy it at this price because this card is not going down anytime soon.
Yeah, if you aren't trying to spend too much, unfortunately, Purple Luffy may not be the deck for you because I don't think there's any reasonable substitute for Queen, unfortunately. Next up, let's look at another purple starter deck card. It's going to be the Purple Kaido. This one less of a staple and a lot lower of a price at $620. If you're trying to play purple and this is the card you don't have, yeah, this is an easy pickup for you. $6 is insanely good. Also, what's driving this price down? This card got a reprint in, what was it? Was it OP02 or 3? It was the revision packs this card was in.
Yeah, it was. I think it might have been 03, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
or 02, but yeah, there's definitely a revision on this card. So
yeah, there's a revision reprint on this, which is going to be the reason why this is so much cheaper. Also, there is actually, if you do go to your local weekly tournaments, there's going to be another reprint of this card with a lot better art that I'm looking to pick up 4 of, which is going to be another reprint and probably going to drive this card down even more. But $6 is a good place to buy it right now, so if you need this card, I would buy it. Next up, another purple Luffy staple. We've got Polly, a card that's been rising in popularity to counter the many 4-drops that Sakazuki is running, such as Kuzan, Rebecca, etc. But this card can get rid of those on play and on the perfect curve, bringing you to 8 Dawn. If you have not seen that yet, you will 100% see it next set. And looking at the price for 4 of Staple and Luffy, that is a crazy good price. Pick up 4 of now if you are playing Purple Luffy.
Yeah, 100%. This card here, it used to be dirt cheap, and now it is more at a reasonable price, which I actually think is a good thing for this card because people were just throwing this away before. Definitely a strong pickup here. I think this is a great price for SRs. I don't think SRs should be in the cents at all, ever. So I think that's definitely healthy for the game. And then this card being so good in one of the best decks and being so cheap is amazing.
Yeah, I think the main reason is because 03 and 04 were very much more printed than 01 and 02. This is an 03 card, so I think just all the 03 stuff in general is going to be a lot cheaper. And just for fun, let's look at the alt art. $21 for this alt art, 4 of. I would totally pick this up. This is a great price for the alt art, to be honest with you. If you are looking to drip out your deck, this is a card that's honestly going to be pretty easy to get. Only run you around $80.
Yeah, not bad for a whole playset.
Yep. And next up, another 5-drop 4 of Staple in Luffy. We've got Magellan. This card is also really good in the actual Magellan deck itself, which may be a bit of a threat next set. We'll have to see. This one at $11. You may think that's a bit much after looking at Poly, but then you realize this card is an OP02 card. And this is actually a really decent price for Magellan. I would definitely pick up a 4 of here.
Yeah, I think the Magellan, it being at only $12, just under $12 for it being an OP02 card is really good. This card is going to be super good going into matchups like if you're playing Purple Luffy going into NL, even Sakazuki. This is going to be a great card to play just so they have less Dawn to work with.
Mm-hmm.
And then your purple Luffy, so you're ramping to begin with, so that down -1 is basically not affecting you at all. Yeah, this is a great pickup.
Yeah, really annoying card that can basically not be removed unless they have a bottom deck effect. And then Magellan is one of the cards that actually has 2 alt arts. So depending on which one you like, this one from OP02, sorry, this is actually an OP04 reprint, but 49 is a bit much for this card, I think. And then the other one, the actual alt art from OP02. 34 is, I think, a decent price, and it's actually been going down recently. So depending on which one you like, if you like this one, I would probably pick this one up. Maybe even wait a bit as the price is going down since the past week or so. This one, though, as you can see, only going up. I think people do like this one more. So if you do like this one more, you might have to pick it up now before it rises in price even more.
Yeah, and then obviously the SP alt arts have lower pull rates than regular alt arts, so they're
Yes.
just more rare in general. So we're gonna see this elevated price for sure on some of these SP alts.
Mm-hmm. And next up, let's check out some of the cards for NL. Yellow been notoriously one of the most expensive colors, just because how many SRs you have to run a ton of secret rares. But now looking into yellow, less than $4 for a 4-up staple Sanji in NL/Katakuri is insanely great.
Yeah, the prices definitely have gone down for the yellow cards, especially the more of the common used cards, like some of the SRs, for example, the Sanji, some of the other cards that are used, like the beige. Most of the yellow cards are at a decent price. I think the bulk majority, as we're going to get into it here soon, for yellow is going to be just 1 or 2 cards that really just make up the bulk of what it would cost to actually make a deck.
Yep.
So for a 4 of staples Sanji here, this is such a buy price. Like, you always buy it here.
Yep, and next up we've got Charlotte Linlin. This one obviously only being for Katakuri / starter deck Big Bomb if you wanted to play that, but this is mainly going to be played in Katakuri. Katakuri, as we said earlier in the video, did win a championship series in Japan, which is one of the biggest tournaments by far. Obviously a 4 of in that deck, and this card's only $4. If you're planning to play Katakuri, you don't have this card, yeah, pick this card up now. This is a great price for it.
100%.
For a fantastic deck. Getting into the main reason why playing yellow decks is going to be a bit expensive, though, is going to be this secret rare here. Obviously, secret rares have some of the lowest pull rates in the game. It's only going to be 1 per box, at most, if it is in the box. This Katakuri sitting at $48. I think in Katakuri decks itself, they only play around 2 or 3. And I think in NL, is NL a 3 or 4 of?
It depends on what list, but it's definitely a 4 of in most cases.
Yeah. Okay. So if you are planning to play NL, that is going to be a paycheck that you've got to cash out. That is going to be about $200 for a playset, unfortunately, which is going to be the massive majority of your price point when trying to get these yellow decks.
Yeah, definitely 80% of what the deck is worth in total is going to be just this card here. So, unfortunately, I don't see this dropping in price too much. It's already gone through a big drop just recently, and so it's starting to pick back upwards. It's on the upward trajectory slowly. And so if you're going to run this card in any of your yellow decks, you're definitely going to want to pick some up soon.
Yeah, you might want to pick this up now because I think people are totally sleeping on yellow. It's one of the decks that can just kind of just trigger wins against Sakazuki, which you can do nothing about. Next up, another NL card, $6 for Yamato. This is another 4F staple in NL. Same thing as we're saying with the other cards. This is a good price. Also going up, so I would buy this while you can.
Yeah, I think it's as long as it's under 10, it's definitely in a good position for you to buy. If you need 4 of, you're right now it's at $6. You're spending only was at $24, which is not bad at all. Plus tax, you're looking at $28. For a full play set of Yamatos, I think it's warranted.
Yeah, very, very good price. And last but not least, let's cover a very interesting case here. This is going to be the Edward Newgate from OP02. This card, as probably most of you know, got restricted back in OP03 to a 1 of per deck, which made the price tank by a ton. This card was only selling, as you can see, for around $2 to $3. But next set, they have removed the restrictions that they did for OP04, and I think it would be really strange if this card did not follow suit. I think people are expecting that, which is why you can see the price has jumped. And if you're trying to play any decks like Red Purple Luffy, this is a 4 of in that deck, and that deck is also going to be very good. This is also going to be a 4 of and a Whitebeard himself, which I think nobody plays next set, but honestly, I think the deck's still in a decent spot.
Yeah. As you can see, the card definitely doubled over price within the last 7 days. So people are 100% prepping for a restriction on this card to be lifted. And so you can see this card going even probably higher than $15 if the restriction does get lifted. This card is easily a 15 per card price range. If it does not, you can see once OP05 starts, we'll see this card drop down back into the $4 or $5 range. So definitely keep an eye out for any news. But yeah, people are starting to gear up for 4 of on this. And so, we see the price spiking right now. We're just going to have to wait and see what happens then.
Yeah, here's the deal with this card. It's an OP02 card, right? Which, like Borsalino and Kuzan, makes it... there's a lot less prints of this card, which is going to make the price higher in general. And if the restriction ever gets officially announced by Bandai, you will be able to look right away on TCG Player, and this card's price is going to go crazy high because all of them are going to sell out. So yeah, if you are planning to play this card in Whitebeard or in Red Purple Luffy, I would buy now before that happens.
All right, Pirates, that is going to be the end of this OP05 meta market watch. I'm not sure really what we did here, but we kind of just went over the top 3 decks in OP05 and kind of went over the cards needed for them and talked about the, kind of overwhelming prices on some of the cards to give you guys an insight on kind of what's going to go down as OP05 releases here. And obviously, like this new game we just talked about, kind of in an interesting spot where people are gearing up for this card to run 4 of index, but they're not certain, right? They're kind of just going off of, I hope, right, off feeling. And so that is where we're currently at with the market, and in OP05, that's currently where we're going to be staying for the near future. It's going to be a lot of high-priced cards. This might be the most expensive meta that we've gone into, especially for new players trying to get into, this card game and wanting to get into, a tier 1 deck. It's going to be kind of pricey, but regardless, it is what we're dealing with. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys stay tuned for more videos in the near future. I'll see you guys on the next one. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Peace.